Hello everyone, coming back from what felt like a forever hiatus, we're going to be building Ellie from The Last of Us Part 2. Full of anger, running on vengeance, and packing a lot of heat, Ellie is going to be cutting her way through Seattle to find Abby and get revenge for Joel. However, Seattle is a big city, and we are just one person. We need certain skills to make it through and survive. But how do we build Ellie? It's actually pretty simple. We need a lot of different skills like building bombs, shooting guns, sneaking around, and setting up traps for our enemies. Second, we need guns. All kinds of guns. Bows and arrows, pistols, shotguns, you name it. And of course, we're survivors. That's a big we are survivors. Ellie has asking a lot for people to come help her out. So we need to have a high charisma to make sure we can convince people to come to Seattle, on the other side of the country, to kill Abby. So let's get to it. But first we need to decide what Ellie is, and Ellie is going to be a human. Humans have 8 hit points at level 1. They're a size medium creature. They have a speed of 25 feet. They get 2 ability boosts. We're going to put them into Dexterity and Constitution. She's pretty fast and pretty tough. For languages, she only speaks Common as far as we can tell. And for our human feat, we're going to pick Adopted Ancestry. We're going to pick Dwarf because dwarves get access to something that's going to be very vital to this build. So be warned, we're going to get some guns. And for our heritage, we're going to pick Skilled Human. We get to pick one skill of our choice, and at the 5th, we'll become an expert in that chosen skill. We're going to pick Intimidation because Ellie is pretty scary. Even off the cuff as a kid, she was pretty scary. And for our background, Ellie's a pretty proficient hunter. She's good with a rifle, she's good with a bow, so we're going to pick Hunter. You get 2 ability boosts, put them into Wisdom and Dexterity. You get skills, Survival and Tanning Lore, and for our feat, we get Survey Wildlife. For 10 minutes, you can assess the area to find out what creatures are nearby, based on nests, scats, and marks on vegetation. On a success, you can attempt to recall knowledge at -2 to learn about the animals in the area, but if you're a master, you don't take a penalty. Now we finally get to our class, and our class is going to be a rogue. You get 8 plus your con modifier and health. You get your boost to your dexterity, so now it's a +3 at our level. You get trained in the rogue class DC. For our attacks, we're trained in simple weapons, martial weapons, and unarmed attacks. For defenses, we're trained in light armor and armor defense. For skills, we're trained in stealth, trained in thievery because of our racket we're going to pick. That's a little spoiler. We're also trained in 7 additional skills plus our intelligence modifier. So crafting, deception, acrobatics, diplomacy, medicine, athletics, and society. We're also trained in expert in perception, reflex, and will saves, and we're also trained in fortitude. We've got a lot going for us, so let's get going to the next part of this build. We have 4 boosts to put at level 1, so we're going to put them in Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, and Charisma. Dexterity and Con are going to be carrying our build because we're pretty stealthy, we're pretty fast, and we have a good deal of health. Wisdom because she has a lot of nature-based skills, and Charisma because, come on, Ellie is a charismatic person, at least in the first game. Second game, she's a bit of a rage monster, but that's okay. We are all with her in this. We're for women's rights and women's wrongs. So next is we're going to have a list of our skill boosts throughout the entire build, because rogues get one at every level. So we're going to be putting a lot of our boosts into survival, stealth, medicine, crafting, and acrobatics. So that's going to be focused. You can level them as you see fit as you level up, but these are primarily what the builds are going to be based around. Following it up with all the skill feats we'll be picking every level, because rogues get a skill feat every single level to become kind of like skill jockeys. So, look at this list, see what you like, and make sure you level up your skills accordingly with the skill feat. This leads directly into our first real level. We get to pick our rogue racket. We're going to pick a thief because Ellie is nimble and light on her feet. When you attack with a finesse melee weapon, you can add your dexterity modifier, your damage rolls, instead of your strength modifier, which I think works for Ellie's general build. She's not really a big, heavy character. You're also trained in thievery, which we got previously, so ignore that for right now. Which leads to us talking about sneak attacks. When you strike a creature that's considered off guard with an agile or finesse melee weapon, or an agile finesse unarmed attack, ranged weapon attack, or ranged armed attack, you deal an extra d6 of precision damage, and that's going to increase as we level up. That leads really well into surprise attack. On the first round of combat, if you roll deception or stealth for initiative, creatures that haven't acted yet are considered off guard to you. So roll high and start rolling damage. To highlight Ellie's agility, we're going to go tumble behind as our first rogue feat. When you successfully tumble through, the foes whose space you pass is considered off guard against the next attack you make for the end of your turn. So get in, dodge, swipe, get that off guard, get that sneak attack. Which leads us into rogue level 2. Good quick draw is your rogue feat. You can interact to draw a weapon and then strike with that weapon. Swing fast and swing hard. At level 3, you get Deny Advantage. You aren't off guard to hidden, undetected, or flanking creatures of your level or lower, or creatures of your level or lower using Surprise Attack. However, they can still have their allies flank. For our general feat, get Breath Control. You can hold your breath for 25 times longer than usual, and you get a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws against inhaled threats, like poisons, so you can be underwater and avoid fungus bombs a little bit better. Rogue level 4, you get Nimble Dodge, get a +2 circumstance bonus to AC against triggering attacks. This is the dodge mechanic from The Last of Us Part 2. Level 5, you get a lot of stuff. Ability boost, put them to strength, dexterity, wisdom, and charisma. For our ancestry feat, go through a dwarf and get explosive savant. Become trained in simple and martial bombs and firearms. Our sneak attack goes up to 2d6. We also get weapon tricks. We get expert proficiency in simple weapons and unarmed attacks. When you critically succeed at an attack against an off-guarded creature while using an agile for a simple weapon, you can apply a critical specialization effect of that weapon that you're wielding. So, find a good weapon, use it to sneak attack, and deal some incredible damage. And now also, grab a shotgun while you're at it. Rogue level 6 gets mobility. When you take the stride action to move half your speed or less, that move does not trigger any type of reactions. You can use mobility when climbing, flying, or swimming, instead of striding if you have the corresponding movement type. So use it to sneak through vines and not trigger any traps or snares or anything like that. Rogue level 7, perception increases up to master. Evasion, your reflex moves up to master, but when you roll a success on a reflex save, you get a critical success instead. General feat, get fleet to get an even 30 speed by adding 5 to it. And weapon specialization, deal 2 additional damage with weapons or unarmed attacks in which you're an expert in. That damage goes up to 3 if you're a master. Rogue level 8 gets Slice Striker. When you succeed or critically succeed on a strike against a creature that isn't off guard, you deal 1d6 persistent damage. And this applies only when you're using a weapon or armed attack that you can still sneak damage with. At 14, you would normally deal 3d6 on a sneak attack. You would then deal 2d6. So this is able to deal extra damage even when you don't have a creature off guard. Rogue level 9, you get Great Fortitude. Your Fortitude saves increase up to Expert. For ancestry feat, get Arcane Tattoo and get Daze. You can cloud the target's minds and daze it with a Metal Jolt. This jolt deals metal damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, and the attack must attempt a basic will save. If it critically fails, it's also stunned 1. So this can be a brick, a bottle, what have you. You also get Debilitating Strike. When you strike an off-guarded creature and deal damage, you can apply the following debilitations that last till the end of your next turn. So speed penalty or becomes enfeebled. So pick and choose depending on the creature. At Rogue level 10, we get Ability Boost, put them to Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom. For Rogue feat, get Precise Debilitations. You can add the following debilitations to your list when you choose from a Debilitating Strike, such as 2d6 persistent damage from your attacks, or the target becomes off guard. At Rogue level 11, you get a Sneak Attack boost, so get 3d6 now. For Rogue Expertise, you can increase your Rogue class DC up to Expert. And now you also get a General feat, so let's get Inventors. You can spend downtime to create a common formula invention that you don't know yet. You can either decrease the price by working longer or paying the difference when you successfully make it. So create new things like medicine or fire bombs. Level 12, we get Spring from Shadows. You can strap to your speed, but you must end your movement next to an enemy you've hidden from or undetected by. You then strike that enemy, and you can remain hidden and undetected until after you strike. So you can use this to really get the drop on someone and hit him with a hard, heavy hit. Level 13, Ancestry Feat. Get Explosive Experts. When you get a class feature that grants you expert or great proficiency with certain weapons, you also gain that proficiency in simple, martial, firearms, and bombs. So, increase our weapons. Improve evasion. Your reflex saves are now legendary. When you roll a critical failure on a reflex save, it's now just a failure instead. And when you take a failure on a reflex save, you just take half damage whenever you're trying to run from. Incredible Senses. Perception increases to legendary. Light Armor Expertise. Your proficiency ranks in light armor and armor defense increase up to expert. Master Tricks are ranks in all simple weapons and armed attacks, including the rapier, sap, short bow, short sword, our fire bombs, and our firearms, all increase to Master. Level 14, get Instant Opening. Choose a target within 30 feet. It's now off guard against your attacks until the end of your next turn. Depending on the way you describe distractions, this action gains either auditory or visual trait. Ellie's very colorful with her language. Very simple feat to take advantage of that. Level 15, get Ability Boost. Put them to Strength, Dexterity, Wisdom, and Charisma. Double Debilitation. When you get Debilitating Strike, you can apply 2 debilitations simultaneously. General feat, get Canny Acumen. At level 17, you can become a master of your choice. I would pick Fortitude, personally. Greater Weapon Specialization. Your damage from Weapon Specialization increases from 4 to 6 if you're a master. At level 16, get Bloody Debilitation. You can add the following debilitation from the list you can choose from when you use Debilitating Strike. Bloody. Takes 3d6 persistent bleed damage. It's a very violent game. Make them bleed. Make them suffer. Level 17, get Ancestry Feat, get Stubborn Persistence. When you would become fatigued, attempt a flat DC 17 check. On a success, you aren't fatigued. Slippery Mind, your rank in will saves increase up to Master, and when you roll a success on a will save, get a critical success instead. Sneak attack's now 46, and now your Fortitude is Master. Level 18, get Defensive Roll. Once per 10 minutes, if a physical attack would reduce you to 0 hit points, you take half damage from that attack instead. So, a little bit more survivability. Level 19 General Feat, get Legendary Survivalist. You can survive indefinitely without food or water and can endure extreme, severe, and incredible heat and cold without taking damage from doing so. Light Armor Expertise, your Light Armor and Unarmored Defense increase with the Master, and Master Strike. Your rank and your Rogue Class DC increase with the Master. You need the Master Strike free action, which when you strike at a creature with an off guard that deals damage, you can attempt a Fortitude save against your class DC, and depending on the amount they fail, lists exactly what happens to them. So it could be as they could be not affected on a critical success, or be paralyzed or flat out killed depending on your choice on critical failure. So, that's fun. Level 20, Ability Boost. Increase your Strength, Dexterity, Con, and Wisdom, and for our last Rogue feat, get Impossible Striker. Nothing prevents a sneak attack damage now. Even if your opponent can see every attack coming, instead of dealing damage from Slice Striker, you deal your full sneak attack damage. So, even if they're not off guard. So, deal that damage. Go in for the heavy hits, and just keep rocking them. That shotgun's gonna kick, that sniper's gonna hit, that bow and arrow's gonna pierce. So, deal that damage. So with all that being said, do you want to kill every last one of them? Well, with all your skills, you're prepared for any situation. You're great at sneaking, you can craft bombs, you can heal yourself and your companions, you can survive this apocalypse world without even having to sweat it. You deal consistently high damage with your Impossible Striker, meaning you're going to be dealing high damage. You're pretty tough with over 240 HP. You're also dangerous with debilitation, so use them in any situation you can. So, there we go. We built Ellie from The Last of Us Part 2. Strum your guitar, endure and survive, and for God's sake, tell a joke from time to time. Okay? Okay.
See you.